Hey guys, PFL Swift here, and I would like to introduce you to the Twinleaf Town Tauros and the league as a whole, PFL, which has been a league since 2015. We're about to enter season 10, and I've co-run this league with a good friend of mine, one of the best guys I've met since I started playing Pokemon competitively back in X and Y. And basically, it's a GBA Global Battle Association style draft where everyone takes turns to draft a Pokemon um, until everybody has 11. And these Pokemon are tiered into different levels, so you kind of don't. They're sort of balanced in a way. You can't just draft the best of everything. You kind of have to think about what you're taking and how it matches well with what's left available and what you can actually have points left with to draft for your team. And this one's kind of a bit more unique in the sense that we have two tiers. We have a major league and a minor league, and the bottom 3 or 4 of the majors tend to drop to the minor leagues, and then they're replaced by the top 3 or 4 guys from minors, which kind of helps keep it competitive and fair to people. So people are playing more against people of their own sort of skill level, and it's a great place to improve. So it's definitely worth having a look at the league, watching the battles, and leaving a like for not just to help me, but also to try and get the league to a wider audience. And I think with that, I'd like to introduce you to my team, the Twinleaf Town Tauros, which have been around since the start of this league. And so I'm going to talk about the Pokemon I've drafted today for these next 12 weeks. It's one battle a week against the opponent that you're scheduled to battle. And to start us off, I have Mega Sharpedo. I've rarely seen Sharpedo used, and it's such an underrated Pokemon, I think. Well, it is tier 1, but it's kind of like one of those ones that just don't really see often. And if you do, I can't think of a time where I've seen it used particularly well, so I kind of fancy giving it a go. Since it got the new move Flip Turn as well. It's a Water Dark type Pokemon with Strong Jaw, which increases its biting moves like Crunch, Poison Fang, Ice Fang, Psychic Fangs, and so on. It can be used in 2 ways now. I feel like probably use it more, but two of the most common ones would either be you Mega straight away and use it for momentum with Flip Turn, and get big hits off. So it can do damage and stay safe. So it kind of ties in well. And the other one is to keep it in its regular form, try and get a couple of speed boosts, and then try to sweep with that, which is a common tactic for Sharpedo. And I definitely look forward to using it. Second off the list, I drafted Necrozma. Necrozma is a very bulky, very powerful psychic type Pokemon, and it gets Stealth Rock, Moonlight, or Morning Sun, which are practically the same thing. It gets set up on both physical and special sides. It has a unique move, Photon Geyser, I think, which basically uses whatever one of your attack stats are higher. Its ability, Prism Armor, helps it take hits, super effective hits very well, and it's definitely worth, I feel, the tier 1 slot that it's in, and it should be a great Pokemon. Next up, it's of course one of the OGs, the Fire type dog Arcanine, and it's one of my personal favourite Pokemon, especially back in the day. It's also versatile. It can be a physical attacker, a special attacker, physical wall, special wall, gets access to Will-O-Wisp to lower your opponent's attack while also chipping away at damage. It gets Morning Sun. It also got the new move Scorching Sand, which is a 30% chance to burn, and a welcome ground type for Arcanine, which will help it take on a couple of things that maybe it wouldn't have been able to before. And it's a tier 3, which is great value, I feel, for something so versatile. And then moving on, next we have Main Chao. It's nimble, it's fast, it's powerful, not too bulky, but it is very dangerous. It's a fighting type. It gets U-turn, it gets Fake Out, it gets Drain Punch, High Jump Kick. It's fantastic. It can be used sort of with two different abilities, Regenerator or Reckless. Reckless boost moves like High Jump Kick, which have a chance to miss and have recoil, which means it can just absolutely nuke if you really want to. Or you can go Life Orb Regenerator and chip some damage, get out, and keep it ticking over. Definitely a very valuable Pokemon to have in your team. And based on 105 speed as well, so it's one of the quicker ones on my team. It's not the fastest, but it does help me kind of speed control a bit, especially against those base 100s that don't necessarily fancy taking a hit. And of course, Regenerator, when you switch out, you get your health back, which comes off of either U-turning or just hard switching, which is fantastic for momentum. Next up is a Pokemon a lot of people feel is setup fodder. I don't see it that way. I think it's a lot better than its pre-Evo in that way, if a little less bulky without EV Line. And this is Blissey. It basically comes in to eat special attacks all day. You basically need either a special attacker or taunt, a physical attacker or taunt or something to get around it. Thanks to it having the 75 special attack stat, it isn't quite as easy to deal with as Champty would be in that regard. It also gets Heal Bell, it gets Stealth Rocks, it gets Wish, which keeps the team going a little bit longer. And it also gets Natural Cure, so I can switch in on Toxics, etc. just to keep a good outlet, and also comes in for Shadow Balls, etc. special hits that would have hurt Necrozma. And Necrozma links well with Blissey to take on the fighting hits that would hurt Blissey. It's a little bit of a defensive core there, which should help me outlast some teams, which is something I don't really tend to draft. Normally I would go more offense and try and just keep the battle as short as possible, but I think this time I'm going to try something a little bit different and see where it takes me. Next up is a tier 4. It's an extremely interesting one for me. It has a unique ability, Mimicry, which mimics the terrain that gets set on the ground. It's a steel ground type, which has an absolute mountain of resistances. It Galarian Stunfisk. It also gets Stealth Rocks. It gets the likes of Thunder Wave. It's quite bulky. For a tier 4, I feel like it's definitely good value. It can definitely take a hit. It can hit back somewhat and should help with some tougher matchups like fairies, etc. that sometimes I could maybe find myself struggling with. Next up, I take a tier 5 dragon, which is a bit of a risk. Most people try to get their higher tier dragon because they tend to be the more usable. And like I said, the Dragon Fairy Steel core is very important when it comes to Draft League. My Steel and Dragons are both low tier picks, but I feel like Alolan Executor could surprise some people. It is quite weak to ice. It does have quite a lot of weaknesses, a few resistances, but it is quite bulky and it is very powerful. In matches where it has a good matchup, or maybe if necessary, I feel like it could do a lot of work. Um, I'm optimistic that with it has a good attack stat of 105, a good special attack stat of 125, so I'm hoping it can do a job similar to the likes of maybe Tauros would have for my team, where it can kind of just really take something out that needs to be gone for the rest of my team. It also synergizes quite well with the likes of Sharpedo, etc., although weak to bug. It'll definitely be interesting to see how it goes with that one. Next up is probably one of the best electric type Pokemon in Draft League. And it gets Defog, it gets U-Turn, it gets Full Switch, it's very bulky, it can roost. Its ability can paralyze other Pokemon. It gets discharged for that additional chance too. And I'm talking about Zapdos, who is very bulky again, synergizes quite well with Blissey and a little bit with Necrozma, and all round is a very reliable Pokemon. I'm hoping it can be sort of the one that comes almost every week and does exactly what I need it to do. It's one of the harder ones to get rid of. It's only weak to rock and ice and could probably get a good amount of knockouts for my team. And next up, I know I said that this is an overrated Pokemon. I still feel that way. It's ironic that it was in my 5 overrated Pokemon list. However, it does get that free sash. It was late in the draft and I needed a tier 2 and nothing else fit other than Mimikyu. And I'm kind of hoping I can sort of assign Mimikyu a role where if there's something that is a danger to my team and I just can't let it get out of hand, I can't let it go and do what it does, I feel like Mimikyu can come in with its basic free substitute and take this thing out, just so I can make sure that the rest of my team doesn't have to worry about it. Like, I don't have to worry about completely walling something if I know I've got a free hit that I can come in and just do whatever damage I need to do. It also fit my team because I didn't have a ghost type or a fairy type at this point. And it was, let's hope it can prove me wrong. Basically, it also gets Swords Dance for damage. It gets Shadow Ball, Dream Punch, or Shadow Claw, Dream Punch, Leech Life, Play Rough, Weird Hammer to catch out them groundwater, so we'll see how it does. Next up is a super fast Hazard Sacker, and this could be really important for me. If I feel like I can't quite break a team, Excelgor gets spikes and toxic spikes. It's incredibly fast. It has a decent special attack stat, and it could help me change the course of a game or set the tone for a battle where I don't necessarily have to be too offensive and can allow myself to play the game out without having to take too many risks and too many predictions and hope that the hazards will kind of do the job for me. It also gets Unburden, which will be helpful for those sort of pesky terrain teams or maybe like sort of running Sword Spray to boost the special attack, to help clean up the game. It has potential, especially for tier 4, and I think it'll probably be one of those sort of bit part roles. It's not my main idea of how to run the team, but it can definitely change the course of the direction for me to go the way I want it to go. And finishing off the draft, I decided to go, I had a choice between ice and poison. I noticed some of the bulkier teams have more of an ice weakness that might be a problem for me to get through. Bulky Pokemon tend to be slowish, and if I can get this thing in on one of these options, basically it can swing and hopefully take something out that will help me sort of break a team down. And that's Beartick, which has 130 attack, which is absolutely massive. Gets access to Swords Dance, it gets Icicle Crash, it gets Super Power, it gets all sorts of coverage, and it was tier 5, so it was cheap, and there was nothing else that kind of had the ability that this has. What kind of role it plays is yet to be seen, but I feel like for those battles where I'm not too sure how to break my team down, Beartick could probably do that role. Interesting abilities of Slush Rush or Rain Dance, which can help with those rain teams. Well, I think there's only one rain draft, but it could help with that if I needed to, and maybe definitely be an interesting battle for sure. And then, of course, Slush Rush, so I could set heal maybe as another option to chip down teams and make Beartick faster. You kind of have to play around more, be a little more cautious, and could help really just turn the battle in my tide in my favour. And only time will tell if it's actually does what I want it to do. It's the common thing when you try to be creative that, you know, maybe 2 or 3 things I feel and I get one thing that's just absolutely phenomenal. And it's the ones that are phenomenal you remember, so it's always worth trying. And that's it for my PFL team. Hopefully you enjoy what I have. And League Battles start next week. I'll try and get them all up and basically put them on the channel so people can watch through them. So it'll be a good way to introduce yourself to PFL. Watch the battles, understand how draft battles are, how they can be quite complex and enjoyable. And if there's anything that you think would have fit my team better, anything you don't like in my team, anything you really are looking forward to see, let me know in the comments below. And I think subscribe if you want to see all the battles. And until next time, stay creative.